The fire took only 7 minutes. That was all it needed to turn Joe's barber shop into a pile of smoking ash. The smell of burnt hair and old wood still lingered in the air as the fire trucks rolled away. But inside that wreckage, behind the melted mirror and twisted chair, they found something that made the chief stop dead in his tracks. A photograph. 2 men standing shoulder to shoulder. One with scissors in his hand, the other with a greasy wrench. Behind them, 2 shops, Joe's barber shop and Ray's bike garage. And scrawled across the back of the photo in shaky ink, "If one burns, the other falls." The chief stared at the picture. "Get me Ray," he said. Now. Chapter 1, The Barber and the Bike Guy. Joe and Ray were as different as a comb and a crankshaft. But they'd been friends for 28 years. Their shops stood side by side on Maple Street in the small town of Oak Ridge. Joe trimmed hair, Ray fixed bikes. Nothing fancy. Just honest work. They met in high school, both outcasts in their own way. Joe was the quiet kid who sketched hairstyles in his notebook. Ray was the grease monkey who brought a motorcycle to prom. Over the years, their friendship became the heartbeat of the town. Kids got their first haircuts at Joe's and rode their first bikes from Ray's. Folks joked that if you lost your bike chain, Ray would fix it, and if you lost your girl, Joe would give you a haircut and help you start over. Chapter 2, The Argument. Then came the argument. It started with a parking space. A stupid, meaningless patch of gravel between the shops. Joe said Ray's customers were blocking his door. Ray said Joe's clients parked like blind squirrels. It got loud. Customers watched them shout across the sidewalk. Old friends stopped talking. Kids whispered. Then Joe said something he couldn't take back. "You think a few bike tires make you important? Without me, this town would forget your name." Ray didn't shout. He just nodded. The next day, a wall went up between the shops. Literally. A wooden fence. 6 feet high. Oak Ridge felt colder after that. Chapter 3, The Fire. It was a Sunday morning when the sirens screamed down Maple Street. Joe's barber shop was burning. Neighbors poured water from buckets, but it was too late. The fire licked through the roof like it had a vendetta. Joe wasn't there. He'd gone to visit his sister 2 towns over. Ray stood outside in silence, a rag clenched in his hand, watching the flames devour half his life. And he saw something. A man. Black hoodie. Walking away from the back alley. Holding something shiny. Ray followed him, but the man vanished. When the fire crew found the photo and showed it to Ray, he nearly dropped to his knees. "Who the hell wants both of us gone?" he whispered. Chapter 4, Digging the Past. Joe returned that night. He didn't speak at first. Just stared at the ashes. Then he turned to Ray. "I'm sorry," he said. "About the wall." "About everything." Ray nodded. "We've got bigger problems now." They sat in Ray's garage, drinking old coffee, staring at the photo. "Who wrote this?" Joe asked. "What does it mean?" Ray opened an old drawer. Pulled out a box. Inside were old letters, receipts, and a newspaper clipping from 1997. "Fire destroys Maple Street florist. Owner dies in sleep." That was Mary. "My aunt," Ray said. "Her shop used to be where your barber shop stands now." Joe looked confused. "She died in that fire," Ray whispered. They never figured out what caused it. Chapter 5, The Connection. They started piecing it together. Mary's shop burned. Joe's shop was built after. Ray's garage opened a year later. But it wasn't just fires. 3 businesses that had once stood on that side of Maple Street had all burned down. One in 1978. One in 1986. Then Mary's in 1997. And each time, the building next door suffered damage too. 4 fires, Joe muttered. Almost like someone's cleaning the street. Chapter 6, The Man in the Photo. They scanned the photo again. Behind the shops, half-shadowed, stood a third man. Faint. Like a ghost. Tall, wearing a flat cap. Ray dug through another box. Pulled out an old picture from high school. Shop class. That's him, Joe said, pointing. Gerald Miller, Ray nodded. He owned the hardware store down the block. Closed it in '98. Said Oak Ridge was cursed. They found Gerald's last known address. An old farmhouse 10 miles out. Chapter 7, The Truth. Gerald was still alive. Frail, with a long beard and eyes that darted like mice. He let them in but wouldn't sit. I tried to warn them, he muttered. Tried to stop it. Stop what? Joe asked. The land, Gerald whispered. That part of Maple Street. It's not right. He pointed to an old map. Used to be a cemetery. Moved it in 1950. But not all of it. Ray paled. You mean? Body's still there. Under the soil. Under your shops. Joe sat down hard. You're saying this is the cursed ground? Gerald nodded. The fire. The message. It's the land trying to wipe itself clean. Chapter 8, Facing the Past. Joe and Ray could have sold the land. Could have walked away. But they didn't. They cleared the ashes together. Tore down the fence. Built one large building instead. Ray's tools on one side. Joe's chair on the other. They held a town gathering. Told everyone the truth. Showed them the photo. And then they blessed the land. Not with priests. With people. Kids planted trees. Families painted murals. They made it a place of life again. And the fire never returned. Chapter 9, The Legacy. Years passed. Joe and Ray grew slower but never stopped working. People came from out of town just to sit in Joe's chair and get their bikes tuned by Ray.